All right, welcome back to Optics in Action, another episode. We're recording a podcast here at the Female Integrator Mastermind in Omaha, Nebraska, and I bumped into Kyle Mealy from Next Level, and he's a fractional CRO for small businesses.
Exactly.
And so we started chatting, and I thought it'd be really interesting to have you on the podcast to talk a little bit about your background and your experience. What is a fractional CRO and all of those types of things. We'll talk a little bit about process and people like we always do, and understand a little bit more about what you do and who you are. So welcome to Optics in Action, and love to hear a little bit more about you, Kyle.
Well, thank you very much for having me. I'm excited to be here. FIM is an incredible community, and I'm just really, it's fun to see these kind of people working on themselves and growing. And that was part of my journey as I've and that's why I call myself Next Level, is I've always tried to challenge myself and achieve, and then set a new goal, set a new goal. And, I started in like the science world with math and process and science. So, I was always testing, always documenting process. And then the numbers told the story that you can't see. And so I fell in love with that part. And then I got attached to some incredible leaders in small businesses. And I was the second in command or integrator for one business. And so I had math, I had leadership, and then I had to run a small business. And if everybody knows small business, what's the hardest part? It's process, people, and then sales and marketing.
So you're a perfect fit for multiple reasons. I think as you and I, probably why part of the reason you and I hit it off so well is my degrees are in chemistry and finance. I'm a technical guy, right? But at the end of the day, what I started realizing is the importance of people in interacting with processes. Because if you have great people, but they don't have process, they get frustrated.
Yeah.
And if you have great process, but people don't interact with it, then it's wasted, right? It's just words on a piece of paper. So, so tell me a little bit about being a fractional CRO. What does that mean? How are you helping organizations in that way?
Yeah, I love the small business community I'm part of, whether any of the business operating systems. And I kept seeing a weakness in it, is that most of these small businesses are either okay at sales and then not good at marketing, or okay at marketing and not good at sales. In the the solutions out there were too expensive and imbalanced for what they needed. And so I said, let's stitch together sales and marketing. Let's do it at a reasonable rate, and then be able to build a marketing and sales operation that doesn't need a $50,000, $100,000 budget. Like, I love small businesses because we're still like making duct tape and popsicle sticks and trying to like stand out in front of our clients and make it look like the Mona Lisa.
Make things happen. Yeah, exactly.
So that's where I fell in love. And that's what I do, is I solve sales and marketing and make revenue and profit more predictable, so that they can have confidence in taking care of their team, that they have the ability to like make that strategic investment. So that's where I live.
And so how do you do that? So when you identify an entrepreneur, a visionary, a founder, and you kind of take them on this journey of improving their sales and marketing process and bringing those things together, what do you have some steps that you take people through typically? How does that look for you?
Yeah, I have a method. It's very simple. It's simplify, because what I have found is in this 0 to 3 million, most of the entrepreneurs that I love and adore and work with, they figure out something. They figure out something that works, and they figure out a way to sell it themselves. But it's usually some amalgamation of a bunch of different versions that is kind of messy, and they still haven't like made it something that's clear and simple and scalable.
Yeah. So and part of it is we have to figure out as a founder, right? A founder has to figure out how to make money, right? Or let me start with it. A founder has to figure out how to bring in revenue, how to service those clients that they're bringing revenue in for at a cost that's less than the revenue. So all the hats that a founder wears in that startup phase you're talking about, the 0 to 3 million, there's a lot going on there. And I think a lot of us fall into the trap of the client asks us, can you do this? And we say, well, of course we can, right? Can you do that? Of course we can.
Because you got the number in your head of, I got to go more money than I'm bringing in.
That's right. Yes. So this is the balance. And then getting to a point as the business evolves, say, all right, now I'm going to flip the switch a little bit and say, I've got a system and the system's working. I need to focus all of my energy on that. I'm going to focus my marketing, my sales, my efforts, the operations, get everybody focused on one thing. And that's just a natural evolution for small businesses. So, all right. So you're taking people through this journey.
So simplify, measure, right? Most small businesses aren't fully measuring or going to depth of measurement, and then margin. That's we when the founder kind of steps away, they have this system. What does it actually cost to run? Because there's so much crossing, there's so many hats wearing. So you have to like delineate what we're actually spending and what we're actually making, because it's that gap is where your marketing and your sales budget lives. And so we want to make sure that the margin's good, so we have room to spend and spend well, because we're not in a game where we can overspend 1 month in the small business, because that's payroll. And so what I'll do with them is, I understand that sales and marketing by their very nature are really hard to process. Salespeople don't always follow process, but that's something that makes them special at times.
Salespeople are artists, right? Yeah, the machine operators are artists. Everybody wants to be an artist in their own way, but getting a cohesive system to get everybody working together.
Yeah. So I built a sandbox is how I think of it. It's a numbers-based sandbox. And I put sales and marketing, because again, we're all wearing a lot of different hats, right? The marketing coordinator of most small businesses does more than just marketing coordinator. The VP of sales is juggling marketing too. And so if you build a sandbox, and the sandbox is very clear definitions of what good is, like what our strategy is. We're going to, target XYZ client. We're going to, have this message, and we're going to do it at scale. And we're going to make it simple. Like, okay, that's the sandbox. And we can only spend XYZ to do that. What I've found is that's when you let your creative people, your marketing people, your salespeople, because I think salespeople are creative. They have to be fast thinkers. They have to have high EQ. And I found that a lot of salespeople are really good at marketing. They're just good at it one-to-one.
Yeah.
And so if I create a framework where we're all kind of speaking the same language, just marketing is one-to-many and sales is one-to-one, and we know what the scorecard is, we know what winning is, really cool things happen. And so that is actually the process. It's just a framework upon which we build within. And so that's the secret sauce.
Yeah. What's the biggest frustration that you find, or pain that you find, that small business owners have as they're going through this process, as they're trying to figure it all out? What's the biggest frustration or pain that you maybe help them uncover, clarify, articulate? What's that biggest pain that
I think they've got so good at selling it their way, whatever it is their way, and they know how well the product can work, and they've seen it work so many different ways that there's this like chaos of like, well, what is it now? They have this mental image that, is so curated by their own work to get it to a point. Now it's got to be in a way that other people can consume and understand quickly, without the owner being able to like, oh, well, in this moment, it's like this. They have to pull it back to simple. And that is a really tough unwinding process, I found. That's the gap between 1 and 3 million.
Yeah. So you sort of touched on this earlier, but there's like, why do you do this? Why is it so exciting to you? Why are you so passionate about this? If you think about what drove you to start Next Level, what drove you to engage with this small business owner, the 0 to 3 million is sort of your target market. Like, why is that so important to you? Why are you passionate about this?
I came from a family, and I bless their hearts. They made sure there's food on the table, and you protect the paycheck, and you do the job, and you don't work to live. Yeah. You don't live to work. You work to live.
Okay.
And so 9 to 5, come home, paycheck, and entrepreneurial did not exist. And so I ended up sitting next to a lot of entrepreneurs in my career and being their right hand. And I was so impressed that they were putting it all on the line. They're like, I believe in this so much that I may not take a paycheck next month.
Yeah.
And I'm going to be fine.
And it happens. Yeah.
Absolutely. It totally happens. And I realized that in order to really be the kind of servant leader to them that I wanted to be, I couldn't be taking a paycheck. That was what was causing them stress too.
That's right.
So I had to go do it for myself. And now I can look at them one-on-one and say, not only have I been on the other side working with you, now I'm on the other side of understanding exactly what pain you're going through, because I've had to do this too.
Yeah.
And so I'm passionate because it comes back to respect, and it comes back to like courage. And they are so courageous, and it's like they move the world. They're the ones who make really good jobs for people. And my family was had a paycheck because of an entrepreneur.
Yeah.
And so now I get to do that for others. And every time I win for an entrepreneur, they get to take care of their team.
Yeah, yeah. I love the authenticity you have around that. It is to be an entrepreneur requires this level of dedication and purpose and vision and all of those things. And spinning all those plates can be really hard and tiring at times. But when someone has a vision to change the world in some way, right? It might even be a small part of the world, but a vision to change things. It's not just showing up for a paycheck. And so recognizing that this becomes can impact so many people's lives and can impact so many people in so many different ways. That's a really cool purpose that you found and started to navigate. Awesome. So, well, Kyle, how do people get a hold of you? How do they learn more about what they could get from Next Level? How do they get a hold of you? How do they incorporate and or become part of your system or get to learn more?
There's a trigger event. There's something that happens in your business. You've hit a wall of revenue. You've hired your first salesperson. It didn't go well. You're frustrated because there's no marketing strategy. If you're saying things like that, and you're a small business and you know you've got something figured out, and you can't escape the current gravity you're in, you call me.
Yeah.
Or you go to my website. It's readyforthenextlevel.com.
So readyforthenextlevel.com. I love it. Okay.
That's at the end of the core. It's if somebody, what I've learned is entrepreneurs will make that moment where they're like, I've had enough. I need to do something different. I need outside perspective. I've gotten as far as I can. And if it's sales and marketing, I can fix that.
Yeah. Awesome. Well, hey, it's been a pleasure. So getting to know you, getting to meet you, running into you here at the Female Integrator Mastermind. We're here in Omaha, Nebraska, early November. And this was such a cool event for me. This is my first time here. I don't know about you. Have you been here before?
It's my third. It's
third
incredible.
time. All right. So you keep coming back.
Yeah.
So this is my first time here. In my business, I have a female integrator, Riza Aquino. I flew her here from Germany. When I heard about this, this is something that she needs to see, needs to be part of. And the energy and the ideas that she's taken away from the conference have been amazing. I know, people might hear a little bit of background noise on the podcast here, but as like we're recording these with different female leaders and male leaders, just people who are passionate about making a difference in the world. I think it was really a pleasure running into you, meeting you, getting to know you a little bit better.
Thank you.
And
I
it's
appreciate it.
Kyle Mealy with Next Level.
Yep.
And it's readyforthenextlevel.com. Did I get that right?
Yep. Ready for the next level.
Anyone who wants to get in touch with you to get a fractional CRO, to get sales and marketing lined up and get their thoughts and processes working around that, they can contact you, Kyle. So thank you so much for being on the podcast. Appreciate having you here and getting to know you better.
It was a pleasure. I'm glad we bumped into each other. Thank you.
Awesome. Thank you so much.